what's more feasible? Aliens did it, right?
Wax on, wax off.
He's too much of a bitch.
There's two of them.
Some kind of beast that's like, is that a demon?
Is that a dragon? I don't put bruises on myself. Maybe I should.
Man, she hit her face like on my knee or her knee or something. And she like bled everywhere. And I was like, oh shit. And I had to tell my wife, like,
Her nose was bleeding?
yeah, her nose and her mouth, like
Bleeding from her mouth?
I think from like her lip got busted.
Oh, she must have hit hard then.
Yeah, dude. I mean, she you know what I'm saying? But like,
One Punch Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt.
And I'm Davi. And this is Doors Open.
All right. 3 weeks in a row, I've got one of my oldest friends with me. What's up?
What's going on?
All right, dude. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for like 40 years.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a long time, like all the time.
You gonna tell me something I should have known a long time ago?
Yeah, I think so. I think dinosaurs were dragons.
It could be.
It
makes
Think
sense.
about it. It makes sense, right?
Pterodactyl?
Yeah, or just not all of them. A lot of them. Like T-Rex. It doesn't make sense for it to evolve into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what also, like birds have, they have little talon things, right?
Yeah.
And they have wings.
Mm-hmm.
But the wings is mostly cartilage and skin and flesh. There's no bone in there most of the time, right? So that gets worn off in time. And so we don't see the wings. Think about like a dragon, like, and this is why I say this. Every civilization has a fucking dragon or a serpent like that, right? They look a little different, whatever, but like they all have something about a flying beast that like look like a kind of like a lizard serpent type of thing.
Yeah.
And we all have it, right? This makes me think about Pangea, maybe Pangea, when we all were one, we had to fight these dragons. That means we existed when these things existed, right? We existed to see the dragons. And we're Cambodian in Angkor Wat, which is like the temple of temples of like the world. Mm-hmm. But especially in Cambodia, there's pictures of dinosaurs on this. Not pictures, but carvings.
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. So like, how would this be here unless we've seen it? Like, no one came to us and said, hey, these are dinosaurs. You should carve this.
Yeah. There's a Stegosaurus carving on one of the temples. A lot of people saying maybe it came after, like when they started like rebuilding it, because they are like when I was there was putting stones back, like putting new stones in and stuff like that. And I mean, it's possible, but
what about the Aztecs that have the same thing? You know what I mean? And all the other civilizations that had these similar things. Why is it that every culture has a bow and arrow?
Yeah.
Right? Like we all have a bow and arrow. Like a spear, I understand.
Yeah,
a spear, you keep things from a distance. Yeah. That makes sense, right? Putting a sharp thing at the end, that makes sense. But a bow and arrow, yes, it makes sense if you know what one is. But if no one told you what a bow and arrow is, how would you think, like, how do I attack that thing? They're all the same design, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. You ever think about that?
If dinosaurs was all dragons?
Yeah.
No.
How about the arrow, bow and arrow?
No, I didn't think about that.
But it makes sense, right?
It makes sense, yeah.
Like you think of like Asian cultures, we have bow and arrows, right?
Yeah.
European cultures, right? That were separated from leagues, like completely far away. The Americas, bow and arrows. We all have it. Everywhere we have it. So how do we all did we all just figure it out,
Yeah.
Around the same time? Like I the big part, and this is a hot topic, unpopular opinion, but one of the reasons why in America things ended the way they did with the indigenous is because a lot of them were hunter-gatherers and traveled. So you only advance because of war, right? But if you constantly move, you can't advance very far. Now, not to what we believe. When we grew up, we thought Native Americans, indigenous, that they had like teepees, right? Do you remember in school?
Yeah.
But that's not
taught.
That's not the case. A lot of them had like actual structures and,
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
It's just very strange that we get taught something and we learn something new.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of that is that they never discovered, to my knowledge, metal. And that's why they couldn't advance in technology. But there's never a need.
Yeah, they didn't need to.
Like every culture, we advance because of the need to dominate, right? Like we're Asian, but let's go China, right? Because I'm part Chinese. You're probably part Chinese too.
I think everybody is. That's Asia.
If Asian, yeah, probably, right? But yeah, so we have gunpowder because they had to think of ways like, man, we gotta beat other people. So we gotta create these structures because we need to defend against a siege. You know, all these different things. So every advancement we ever had, or most of the advancements we've had, is because of war. But I don't know why I'm talking about that because I was talking about dragons. But I think that's interesting that people don't talk about. You know, every culture has a dragon. Every single one that I know of. Like Vikings had dragons. Look at the ships. You know,
Yeah.
they had these serpents, right?
Uh-huh.
They talk about it. You know, like we said, Asians obviously. I know Indians are Asians, but technically, but like Indians had serpents like that, very similar. Obviously, Cambodia, obviously in the Americas. We already know about European dragons, which are the most famous dragons, or at least in America. But yeah,
You know what I read? They say the T-Rex didn't come after till like hundreds of million years after the Stegosaurus, so they didn't really live in the same time period.
no, they didn't. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, because we're taught differently.
You just
Like,
thought
they
all
walk
dinosaurs
together.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think we know. I think we come up with things. I think science, and I'm gonna sound like a lunatic here, but I'm okay with that. I think we come up with different rules, and then we just make up why they happen.
yeah.
Like carbon dating, it was like, oh, this is what this is, right? And then they'll find something that's fairly modern, and the carbon date puts it centuries away ago. You know what I mean? Or they'll find something, they're like, oh, this is this, but by the carbon dating, it's 3,000 years old. How's that possible?
Which is crazy.
You know?
Like, yeah, because growing up, like you said, we're taught dinosaurs were just dinosaurs. They was all together.
all
like,
hanging out, pterodactyls
little
and
Bigfoot and all that stuff. Yeah, you know, you're just like, damn. And then I read it literally like a month ago. I was like, really? That's kind of strange. Like, I mean, you know about the Jurassic area and I forgot what it's all called, but different
eras
area
that these
the
dinosaurs existed.
But
And
you're talking about hundreds of thousands of years in between each other. I was like, damn.
you know what? Also, and I'm too dumb to know the answer to this. Like when we were kids, we were taught that's how oil was made, right? Like these fossilized bones of dinosaurs would eventually create like a substance that would be oil. Is that what you remember or no?
Yeah.
So I was thinking like in like a couple thousand years or how long it takes, is it going to be a situation where all these human bones or like caskets, that's a little bit of oil, you know, like how's this
Yeah, that's true.
like how's our bones going to turn to oil at some point? Like, is that what happens? I just wonder that, you know. But I want to talk about something else. So I get really crazed about like ancient civilizations, right? I think it's really interesting to think about. And have you ever heard of the mud flood theory?
I don't think so, no.
All right, so the mud flood theory is a theory that we keep on building on top of ancient civilizations.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, you ever see a building and like there's a window, but there's like the ground's close to it?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, erosion, like stone buildings. And then like you'll see buildings where you'll look and in the basement there's windows, like really old buildings, there's windows that's underground. And you're like, oh, erosion, it's just whatever.
Yeah.
But then you learn how long that would take to do. And you're like, wait a second, how's that even possible?
Yeah.
So like the theory is that we keep on, and you see this a lot, like we keep on, something big happens to our world and we have to start over, and then we just move in.
Yeah.
Like the pyramids. Like they're saying, a lot of people believe that they just moved in. Like we don't know. No one knows. Like some people think aliens, some people think whatever, right?
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But the point is, whatever you think, we don't know. You know, we can't duplicate it. We have ideas.
Yeah.
We have ideas, but like, you know, what's more feasible? Aliens did it, right? Or a civilization spent a millennia doing it and we're done and it died out and then some people came along and were like, I'm gonna move in.
Yeah.
That's probably more likely,
possible,
right?
Yeah.
They just came in because these structures still exist. And I don't know.
Did you see that that headline where they were building a new building and they was excavating the ground and they came to a mosaic tile floor? You ever saw that?
Do you know where? It was in
I want to say it was in Europe. I'm not 100% sure.
We keep finding stuff like that.
Yeah, and which is crazy because they're like, there was something there before us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is like maybe, I don't know, maybe 8-10 foot down. So who knows?
We keep on discovering older civilizations, and science don't really talk about it because it discredits them. So there's a good episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, of course.
So Mac, he's like, sometimes smart guys are wrong or something like that. Where they're talking about the Bible and science, and so they have this big argument about like evolution and the Bible, and then Dennis is talking about, oh man, that's it's all bullshit. That's just the Bible's bullshit. Like some guy just made it up. And he goes, why do you think? He goes, what do you believe in? And he's like, oh, I believe in this. And he goes, why do you believe that? And I'm like, physics, right? And he's like, why do you believe that? He goes, did you study this yourself? He goes, or did you read it in a book? Because the whole point is this, like, you're just trusting a book and for what its validity is. So I just think it's really interesting because that's what we do. You hear something and you just repeat it and it becomes what that is, right? But in science, a lot of times they discredit a lot of fringe science because it discredits them. If we found, like, what's the oldest civilization? I'm gonna look at the oldest civilization in the world, right? Is Mesopotamia, okay? 4,000 BCE. The ancient Sumerians, okay? Sumerians, right? But I want to feel like we have found civilizations older than that, but it's discredited. We found things older that predates that. Yeah. If you go by carbon dating, right? So it's like a paradox of like, who says she said? Well, this is older because of this. Well, we can't really trust that scale. So I just think it's really interesting that because we don't know these answers, and I would love to know these fucking answers, man. Like all these ancient civilizations, like China, ancient Egypt, all like that still exists. And there's so many civilizations. Like it's crazy when I think about so many countries had these great wars in history, and how small these countries are now.
Yeah,
like not that they're small in stature, but just like where they are now. Like you look at like Turkey or Persia, for these powerhouses that existed, and not that they're not powerhouses now, but just like they once ruled everything.
Yeah,
Mongolia.
Yeah,
fucking Genghis Khan almost conquered the world, right? Like Alexander the Great. Like, but when you think of powers now, you think of like what do you think of? You think America, China, Russia.
Yeah,
you think of those countries. In 1,000 years, we might not be shit.
Yeah,
and it's just, and there might be someone else living in your house. You know what I mean? Like what do you think? Like the possibility of that we're just moving in. Like we just show up.
I mean,
like, it's crazy. You'll see these old black and white pictures of, like, you'll see someone like they're on horsebacks, right? And then you'll see a whole town around the same time period exist at the same time. And it's like, how does this even happen? But at the same time of that, as I'm speaking this, we have people who live with crazy amount of technology. Right now, I've got 3 cameras on me. I've got like all this crazy technology around on us, right?
Yeah.
And there's still some dude in the Amazon rainforest that's never been discovered.
Yeah, or has never seen a cell phone or...
Yeah. There's a small island, I think close to India, that they found a tribe, right, that has been undisturbed. And it's actually illegal to go there.
Yeah,
like, because
I think there's one in Brazil too.
Maybe this, I can't remember, but like, this is like a small island or area where it's like against the law because we're really just watching and seeing like what happens. And in Brazil, there is one, and this is an old story, and I'm going off the rails because that's what we do. But there's, I think it was a Rothschild, right? You know the Rothschilds, right?
No.
Like some of the richest families of the world that kind of control everything. That's going on to another crazy thing. But
I thought they called it the Rockefeller.
It could be Rockefeller. Yeah. Rothschild and Rockefeller, that's another one. I think it actually is Rockefeller I'm talking about. So he went to one of these islands, and it was rumored that he was killed by them, right? They ate him because they were like, what the fuck are you? You're a white demon.
Yeah.
And they ate this guy, right? But there was like this picture, like years later, of that tribe, and they had a white guy with him.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, and he was like dressed like that. He was like living, but so the belief is that he wasn't killed. That he was like, I want to be here. I want to live here. But and there's also like there's these tribes because they've never been. We're talking about technology. These different villages and things that during World War II, you know, all these planes are crashing everywhere because of gunfights, and a plane crashed in this area, and so what happened is the people there thought it was a god. And so they built structures like little things, little trinkets to look like it. And so if you went there, maybe not now, but at a time, they would have these little things they worship that look like planes. And because to them, they saw this giant thing
something fall out of the sky.
Fall out of the sky. And they're like, what the fuck is that? This must be from the heavens. So whatever they thought heaven was, right? Because we all kind of just look up and go, what is that? So I thought it was interesting, which has nothing to do with today. It has nothing to do. But it's interesting though, right?
Yeah, but you think with that tribe, you think they know that there's a lot going on around them in the outside world, or you don't think so?
Now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta be curious.
They would know, right?
They see planes every day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But they're probably going crazy thinking about it. You know, they probably think like, wouldn't you think like these are monsters everywhere? You know, these giant like if you never saw a plane, and you looked up and you saw a fucking 747 in the sky or a Boeing, whatever, right? And you're like, what the fuck is that? Is that some kind of like beast? You know, some kind of beast that's like, is that a demon?
Is that a dragon?
Yeah, is that a dragon? Iron dragons. But yeah, I think absolutely. We come up these tales, but you see something that inspires you, right? Mm-hmm. So my point is, the whole thing is, I think we all saw dragons. I think human beings were around while dragons existed, and we saw them, and we're like, I'm gonna fucking paint this. I'm gonna fucking talk about this. You know.
Well, you know, in the pyramids, I don't know if you know, they show like a man in a spacesuit and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, so that's why they think the aliens, I guess you could say, built the pyramids.
They have that in the South America too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So
the Mayans.
There's also a very similar. This reminds me of the movie Prometheus, right? Where like these different cultures that have been separated by centuries and by thousands of miles have similar carvings. And there's this carving, I think it's like, it looks like a half man, half beast, holding like looks like a purse, you know, but like different cultures have the same thing. And so it's like, it's interesting to me. You know, I'm not like, oh, I know exactly what that is. Fucking aliens coming here, you know? I'm not saying I know anything. I just think it's fucking interesting. You know, like it's bizarre and
strange.
Like, we can't explain it. And I think it's to dismiss something like that and go like, whatever, man. I'm like that's being small-minded.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to just look at it like we don't understand it, you know. And to say like, oh, we just made the pyramids. Yes, but how? You know, how are you going to move? Like, I think inside there's like these giant granite pillars that are like 20 tons. Somebody smarter than me is going to put it somewhere.
Yeah,
but the granite is like 2,000 miles away or something. And how they put it there?
Yeah, kind of like the Easter Island with those heads. You know,
and they realize their whole bodies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All our lives, we're like, what? There's whole bodies there?
It's just not the head.
It's not just the head. Yeah,
yeah. And you know, they say the downfall of Easter Island is because they cut all the trees down.
Yes,
just to roll those things over. That was the downfall of their whole civilization.
Because they couldn't make boats.
They couldn't make boats
because the food went away because all the forest was gone. And they ate all the food, and they couldn't leave because all the wood was gone.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then all the deforestation made all the things get buried. Is what the logical, what science tells us.
I just always thought Easter Island is such a crazy place.
There's so many places like that in our world that we know about, and there's probably a lot more that we don't know about, man. Like there's probably lots of things. I think the ocean is fucking scary, man.
Oh, dude.
Like there's too much shit going on there, man.
I've been like, so we went swimming one time and we was out in the ocean. And dude,
the deep.
That
sounds scary to me.
And when you peek down, it's
emptiness.
You get scared. Like it gets, for me, I got scared. It's like the reverse of like claustrophobic, you know what I mean? Whatever it's called. It's because you just like.
Are you talking about everything's too big?
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember that? We're going off the rails. Do you remember that guy who was in
the chef?
Yeah. That freaks me out when I think about that dude. Like, I don't know how he had the will. I think I would have killed myself. Like, because he the story is this: there was like a boat. Right?
Yeah, and he was a chef.
He was a chef, and he had to go to the bathroom. And right at the same time, the boat started sinking. So he wasn't in the living quarters, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, like, it sank. Everyone died. It's pitch black. He said
Pitch
he found
black, yeah.
pitch. I mean, you're in the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
That part of the ocean, and
He happened to be in a room that just happened to
had an air pocket.
had an ear pocket in it.
It's
Yeah.
complete dark. He could hear his friends being eaten
Yeah, by sharks.
by
He
sharks.
said.
He could hear it, and it was like 3 days.
Was it 3 days? Yeah.
It was a while.
It was
a while because they didn't think anyone would survive, so they
Yeah.
kind of took their
They
time.
were just going there to
They weren't.
recover bodies.
Yes, they weren't rushing to like we gotta save somebody.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's get these bodies out.
Yeah,
because
getting
it's a
back to
bad
the
look.
family. Yeah, yeah.
And they went, and you see the footage, and maybe you should put the footage up. Of the
Yeah, I'll
press.
put it up.
But like, he's just like standing in the corner, like,
Well,
you know, he's gonna go
And
crazy.
then imagine you being him, and then all of a sudden you start feeling like some hand like grabbing for you, right? Isn't that how it happened? Like, I felt like the diver went up there and like he was reaching for somebody, and then he like touched somebody's hand or touched the chef's hand. And,
oh,
like,
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, I saw the video.
I thought the video they just were in that room, and they're like, oh shit, there's a guy. But maybe I was after. I don't know. But either way, like, it's fucking.
Yeah, I remember he was reaching. He was like the diver was reaching around like for bodies, and he touched his hand. It was like, oh shit, this guy's alive.
I mean, do you know how much hope you have to stick it out? You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like, what else do you do? I guess, but I don't know.
you're
but,
gonna either run out of air or die by starvation,
Like,
or by sharks.
like, what would you do?
I don't know, man.
Would you just
I-
wait it out or kill yourself, or like it's over? Like, you don't have a family. Let's say you don't have a family, because I don't want to like. I don't want your wife to see this and be like, you just kill yourself. No. Like, you don't have a family. You don't have any kids.
I'll
just
try
you.
to survive as long as I can, and then I guess once my air pocket starts going like super low, I don't know, man. I guess I
Just went to the top and just die on the way up.
Yeah, I
What
think
if
that's
those
the
horse-
only thing you can do,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the only willpower you have, just to have some type of hope.
God, like, I'm a bad swimmer. I'm weak. I'm very weak. I'm pretty much like can't swim. And so I don't know, man. I think why am I on this boat? I say, why
am I on this boat?
I can't swim. But yeah, that's I think about that guy sometimes. I really do. And I think about the other guy who, like you said, he was like over a year in the ocean.
Yeah, something
Just
crazy.
surviving.
Yeah, just off of like Hawaii or between Hawaii and California, I believe
Yeah,
it
the
was.
ocean's so like people don't realize how big it is, man.
Yeah,
It's just
I mean,
unimaginable.
yeah.
Like, globes are fake, bro. You know what I mean? Like, the proportion of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
way more ocean than that. Like, it really is. Not like if you look at it, like the globes we look at aren't proportionate of what they're supposed to be, and so it's way more ocean. It's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, on to the first. We're probably like 40 minutes in.
26 minutes into the podcast, we're
Okay.
finally getting into the.
What we're supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Am I overreacting? And this is a visual, so we have to put this up. And it says, "Am I overreacting? 2-year-old came home from dad's with bruises everywhere."
Jesus Christ.
And let's look at this here. He's got a scratch
That's a
on his.
huge cut mark.
Look at these bruises all over his fucking legs. 2 years old. All over his legs.
No, you are not overreacting.
No, this is. I would have a
Jesus.
major. Look, this kid got hurt a lot.
I mean, boys would be boys. Okay, let me tell you this. My son, he has. Me and my wife talk about this all the time, and he literally has permanent bruise. It seems like he has permanent bruise from his knees, like on his shin, like for a whole year now. And I think because he's a boy, so he runs around and he sits on his shins on his stool, on his wooden stool. We need to get him a new chair. But yeah, so I mean,
But you know what, dude? He's building those calluses. They've been Muay Thai fighter. You know what I I mean?
yeah.
He's like they
Like
roll that
blood sport,
stick.
just kicking the bamboo.
You training him, That's what you're really doing. Get some sticks, stick fighting. It's in his blood, I promise. But
You
okay,
mean like
so,
this? Like this?
Yeah.
When he's kicking the bamboo tree.
But yeah, if you look at, you guys will see the picture up. There's bruises all over his little.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, these are like bruises where it shouldn't be bruises.
he looks dirty too.
He does look dirty.
I'm not trying to judge, but I'm just concerned for the safety of this kid.
Did it say how old he is?
2.
Okay.
He's 2.
So he's
still
same
in
age,
diapers.
same age as my son.
Yeah, so you're not overreacting, and this brings up a good point of, what do you do when you think your partner or the other parent
Your
is
ex
abusing
is abusing your
kid.
Yeah.
Because I mean, these look like fingerprints or like bruises. Someone's grabbing somebody. It looks like he's grabbing, and I don't know. I'm not
And they could be like,
playing around.
yeah. Okay.
I play pretty rough.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, so I do see I see a lot of parenting advice and all that stuff. And I read somewhere that rough housing with a boy is good for him.
Or a girl, but yeah, it builds your confidence.
Confidence, because it builds confidence, and it just show them, I guess, being playful or whatnot.
Also, it helps with conflict, so they learn to deal with conflict better.
So, but I don't put bruises on my son, but maybe I should.
I'll tell you, I play with my girls pretty rough, and I don't remember any bruises, but there are been boo boos. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're playing too
not
rough.
Like this. Not like this.
No, this
like
looks
this.
like his kid got beat up.
I'm pointing at the bruises. right here.
It's you. They match. But you're playing around and they fall down, hit their head or something.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, boys would be boys, kids would be kids.
Yes. Yeah. I know my youngest daughter. We're playing around and she hit her face on my knee or her knee or something, and she bled everywhere. And I was like, oh shit. And I had to tell my wife,
her nose was bleeding?
Yeah, her nose and her mouth.
Bleeding from her mouth?
I think from her lip got busted.
Oh, she must have hit hard then.
Yeah, dude. I mean, she you know what I'm saying? But
one punch Matt.
So I told my wife, I was like, oh man. And you're gonna get in trouble a little bit, because you're playing around too much, but you're like, man, it's the kid's fault. The kid didn't block well enough. I said, hands up. But abuse is not a joke. And I think I don't know, but when there is abuse going on, you just have to.
The question
do what's best
is,
for the kid. Yeah.
Does the ex have a pet, like a dog or something that might be rough housing with a kid?
Even so, you question that.
Yeah.
You say, hey, look, the dog.
We haven't read the story, but first thing you would do is.
Oh, there's no story, bro.
There's no story. What?
This is the picture.
So then
we have nothing to go on. Yeah.
So we don't know if she confronted the ex or anything?
No. I mean, maybe it's in the comments.
That's kind of weird.
But this kid's got scratches. If you're the dad and you're bringing your kid home to the mother, she's gonna have some fucking.
She's gonna
questions.
say something. So you should have something ready to hey, we was playing.
So it's weird she doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but she doesn't. Oh wait, did I read this?
No.
My two. It's all the time.
We found the post. The caption.
You guys watch the show ever. I always click on the picture and I forget those words if I go back.
You don't see that because we always edit that part out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this happens a lot.
Every time. All right. My 2-year-old came home from his weekend with his dad tonight, covered in bruises and a cut on his head. I get toddlers get scrapes and bruises, but I can't but help feel something is wrong. I'm planning to take my son to the doctor tomorrow to evaluate. Am I overreacting, or is this alarming? And it feels like it is.
That didn't explain anything. Yeah. I mean, you would think she would ask.
Yeah,
the ex
100%.
first, and then post that, or at least write something about that. He said it was this or that.
When you're the parent and the kid gets hurt on your watch, that's the first thing you say.
Yeah.
Hey, don't get mad.
Yeah.
We're playing around.
He fell over.
Something happened, but the reason that didn't happen, obviously, so he probably just
dropped him off and was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So I don't know. Either way, this is probably neglect.
I mean, at 2 years old, shouldn't the kid be able to
verbalize
that? Because my kid, when he gets a boo-boo, he'll be like, oh, the cat scratched me, or, I fell and hit my head.
Yeah, but usually you're doing this in the background. You're like, the cat scratched me. I'm like, what's your dad's name? He goes, Cat. This is my dad's name, Cat. No,
but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He should be able to.
Kids will be like, Daddy hit me or something,
It depends if he can talk at this age.
No, that's horrible.
You're not overreacting.
No,
of course not.
I think you might be underreacting. To be honest.
Yeah, I just wish you had written a little more.
Yeah,
content.
I think you're underreacting. I think you should have immediately confronted him to have some kind of answer.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I think that, if I was divorced and I saw my kid and they had cuts on them, my first question would be, what happened?
What the fuck happened?
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, if the kid's not listening, I'm like, what the fuck happened? Because it's about to happen to you.
Yeah. You're talking about to the ex? You're talking to the kid?
I was talking to ex.
What the fuck happened, man?
I gotta tell you twice. No, I would ask the ex, what happened?
Yeah,
and what the fuck happened to the kid? What happened to my daughter, my son, whoever? And if they didn't have a good explanation, I'd be really upset. Yeah. They were like, I don't know. I was watching TV and they came back like this. I'd be like, what the fuck?
And if they did tell you that what happened, you should at least post it on here so that you don't
So
make
we're
your ex
not-
look like an asshole.
Yeah, so we're not left wondering what happened to your
Because I'm
kid.
sure the ex had to say something.
Or maybe they're a piece of shit and just drop them off. Some people literally will drop the kids off and knock the door and leave. You know? Like, there's some shitty parents out there, man. Like,
Yeah, because this is bad. Like, yeah,
it's
just
a
see the
lot.
picture, yeah.
And you guys can see in the pictures, like, it's a lot. It's not like a little scrape. Like
It's not
a
like
scrape.
2 bruises. It's like
it's
all over his body.
There's like 15, 20
That's why I
bruises
think
on
it's a
his face.
pet. Like it could be like an overzealous pet or a dog that's jumping on him, and
But it looks like fingerprints. Like,
It does look like
someone's
fingerprints.
grabbing the kid, right?
yeah.
Like, you look at those marks, that looks like someone's grabbing the kid's legs. And, like, I don't know, man. So many stories of new parents when they accidentally kill their kid because
like
they shake them or they do something. Like, there's stories of, like, dads or boyfriends will punch the baby.
There was
because
that
they
one story where his brother
killed the baby.
killed a baby. He said it was by accident, but
What'd he do?
beat him, shake him, told him, I guess he was trying to like tell him to stop
Shut up,
crying,
shut
so
up.
he was shaking him, and he ended up killing it somehow.
That is sad because that's
Yeah,
that
your own
little
brother
kid doesn't
a little
know.
kid.
He probably didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
He probably was like, I need to make this baby be quiet. That makes me question the parenting too, because like, why is
Where
the
were
kid
you
so-
at?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
were you? Why is the kid watching why is the little toddler watching the baby?
Yeah.
That's
I could be
That's
wrong,
not
but
good.
I want to say he was pretty young himself.
I mean, there's stories like that all the time, man. On to the next. You're not overreacting, you're underreacting.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we wish you had more content or content.
I'm not saying you're a bad mom. I'm just saying that like
No,
there
not
needs to
about
be
mom
some
at
more
all.
information.
Yeah.
Right.
I
think
just
all of
wish
us-
you would have said if your ex had mentioned what had happened, because that would make more.
Yes, definitely question what's going on, and you're not overreacting at all. All right, next one. Am I the asshole for refusing to give my brother my mom's wedding ring? No, because I don't know her wishes.
Yeah.
It's all about your mom's wishes.
Yeah.
My brother and I are the only siblings in my family. So when my mother was terminal with cancer, she sat us both down to give us each some jewelry that meant something to her. I got her wedding ring that once belonged to her mother and my grandmother. I was to pass it down to my daughter. My brother got a necklace to be passed down to his daughter. Years later, my brother asked if we could trade the pieces so he could give it to his soon-to-be fiance. I said no. Mom would want me to hold on to it for when my daughter gets married. And after going back and forth with him, he made the choice to stop communication with me. He's getting married and did not invite me to his wedding. When I tried to call him, his fiance told me that it would be best not to call anymore, and that my brother was really hurt. Am I the asshole? No, you're not. He's overreacting.
No, yeah, he's definitely overacting. Like
bro,
over something like this too.
maybe
I
he
don't
doesn't
know.
have money, which is fine. You know, your situation's your situation. I'm not judging, but your mom's wish was for her, your sister, to have the ring and to pass it down. Obviously, this is a trend that's been going on that they want to keep going. Like, I'm sorry that you wanted the ring. I'm sorry, but it wasn't your mother's wish, and it's your sister's choice, and she made the right choice, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to be upset over this is like
Petty.
childish.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind him asking and be like,
Sure.
But if she said no, be like, okay, well,
It's over with.
well, okay, I figure I just ask. You know what I mean? But then to be all upset and be like, hey, you're not coming to my wedding and all that, that just seems like kind of childish.
Like, I get it. Like, maybe he was closer to the mother, and maybe he felt like he wanted a better connection with his wife or something. But on her deathbed, literally, she told you what she wanted. Mm-hmm. So why would you go against? You know, as you guys know, my mother passed, and she had things that she'd said to me, and things that I agree with, things I didn't agree with. You know, but I'm going to honor it.
Yeah.
I'm going to honor with the things that she said. Like, that's what you do. That's like a lot of people have entitlements when people pass away and what they're entitled to. You're entitled to what the fuck ever the person died
Yeah.
wanted to give you. You know, like if your parents were millionaires and they die and they're like, I want you to learn to work hard with donating all this money.
I want you to learn Mandarin.
You know what I mean? Like what? Something random. Like what? Why gotta learn Mandarin? But you know, like that's their wish. That was their money they earned. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe they got maybe they inherited it too. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't think you're the asshole at all for not giving the ring. I think your brother's overreacting, a little entitled, and yeah, man. I don't know. Has your mom has she talked about, how things are supposed to be?
Somewhat,
Yeah.
like of course the farm,
Yeah,
stuff like that, but nothing like.
I understand that maybe the fiance had a lot to say about this too. I don't know, because sometimes people have opinions. They have like these strong opinions, like, well, I'm gonna be your wife, and she's not even married.
Yeah,
Your sister's gay.
Don't she have a daughter? Oh, she said.
She said she would want me to
Okay.
for when my daughter gets married. So I don't know if she has one. I think she's assuming if she does have a daughter, that she'd give it to her, and as she should.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, though, what if you want your own ring, right? Like, what if my mom had a ring that I was supposed to give to my wife, and my wife's like, I don't like that ring. I guess they have two rings, right? What do you do in that scenario?
Yeah.
Right?
I
They
would
have the
think so,
ring
yeah.
that they gave, and because my mom's given Katie, my wife, jewelry before, and Katie's liked the jewelry, but I wonder what would happen if it was like, this is a family ring, and it like looks, it was like,
Yeah,
it was like something religious or something. That she's like, what? I don't want this. What do you want me to do with this? I'm like, you have to wear it. I don't know. Jewelry, like, it gets really complicated, but it sounds like your mom knew exactly what she wanted to do with the ring, and you guys honor it.
And you guys been doing this for a few generations now,
Yeah.
from the grandmother to her to now you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. It sounds
keep
like
it going the way your mom wanted.
Okay, on to the next. And this is a good one. It's very controversial. I can read the title, and I already know this is going to cause people in the comments to go crazy.
Yeah. And I'm sure me and Matt's gonna have different outlooks on this one.
Oh, I hope not. It's going to
So
change
we'll
our
probably
friendship.
break down this podcast after this.
All right, so I'm doing something different. It's an petty revenge. And this says, I left my shopping cart in the parking lot for the first time ever, and it felt great.
That's petty. I don't
That-
understand why it would feel great.
Well, how do you feel about the shopping cart thing?
Oh, dude.
I always put it up, dude.
No matter, well, number one, I always park near one if possible. If I don't find one and I park closer to the store, I will walk it into the store and put it in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Because like that's one of my pet peeves. You know what I mean? Like, number one, you get exercise from it. Number two, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
You know what I mean?
It's just, it literally is just being a decent human being. I
Yeah.
feel like, and there's a test that people said that
Yeah.
if you won't do that, then you're like a shitty person.
Yeah.
And I believe that test.
And I see people like just put it in front of their cars. You know,
I
car.
see so many. And
You're
look,
just like-
I gotta say, most of the time it's a specific gender.
Is it
Girls.
really?
Yeah, I most of the time I see it. All right, so it says, I got to the store today with my son and saw an open space. Sweet, I'll pull through. I go to pull in and see that I see some dumbass took up 4 spaces and wasn't visible from the laneway. How are you not going to see that? But anyways, I had to back out in the space since I couldn't fit and it ended up in the parking lot next to him. I shook my head and I grumbled about it and went to my shopping. When I got back to my car, I noticed that 2 other people had piled their carts around this idiot's car. One in the front and one in the back. I've literally never once in my life left my cart in the parking lot since I'm not an animal, but it only took a few seconds for me to know what I had to do. I put my cart next to the driver's side door in this guy's car, and it felt great. Hopefully, more people kept up and pay it forward the cart pile after me.
So he took up 4 spots.
Yeah.
So he had to park like,
Sideways?
well, the front one and the back one, and he just parked like
I
in
guess
the
he just
middle.
like, yeah. 4 spots? That's ridiculous.
That's crazy. Yeah. He must have had a
I
big
guess
car too.
You know what? I agree with what you did.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, dude, you're
that brings
asshole
it.
or whatever.
This is all together because when someone parks stupid, I get pissed too, man.
yeah.
I'm like, I can understand if you're a little bit on the line because maybe
If you're
someone
on the
fucked
line,
you
yeah,
over, But when you're like covering 2 spots or like half a spot so someone else can't get in there, you're a piece of shit, man. And I've seen people do that. Like, they got a nice car. Oh, David got a Corvette. You want to park right there?
David is the type of guy who would probably do that too.
Yeah.
And park away.
Far away. But I don't think he'd take up 2 spots.
No,
I think
no,
he'd
no.
park far away though.
He's too much of a bitch. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think parking far away is a good idea if you have something like that because you don't want a little door dent.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm happy with this this post because I was already hating you so much.
Well, I felt great. It just kind of.
I'm like, why do you feel great
Yeah.
about this, bitch?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Asshole.
But yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, this person was a dick, and you're punishing them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm Matt,
And I'm Davi, and this is Doors Open.